Alrighty.
Okay, thank you for being here, and obviously our main topic is about the golf course. We don't have any particular presentation other than here to answer any questions that you have. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have questions. Right now, we've been going back and forth in discussing with Troon because we're in the process of negotiating the agreement, which we're getting close. But again, like any contracts, you have to just work through. We've got operations here, so we're pretty much open for any questions. You guys want to do who you are, right?
Absolutely. Sure, I'm not blowing anybody's ears out. I'm Mike Fosnick. I'm the Director of Operations for the Premier Division, which is based in Seattle, Washington. We have 6 clients and 11 golf courses that we currently work with up there, and very proudly looking forward to adding city number 7, Ocean Shores.
My name's Brian Machado. I'm the General Manager at Tri-Mountain Golf Course, which is down in Ridgefield, Washington. I'm also regional support here. Our client is Clark County, so it's another municipality. Looking forward to being of assistance here. Looking forward to taking on Ocean Shores.
So do we have questions? None?
I wanted to find out about the maintenance part of the golf course. The former person who was supposed to be maintaining the golf course was somebody that you couldn't really approach and talk to. I'm one of the homeowners, and I've asked about maintaining the property that's on the golf course side versus the people that own the property over that boundary line. They would not listen to what we said, and a lot of us have chain link fence or fences, and then the weeds on the golf course side can be about this high. So some of us have taken it upon ourselves to take care of the matter by hiring Beacon to come and shoot something there to stop the weeds from trying to grow into our properties. Will you be more open and to talk to the homeowners to see our concerns, whatever concerns we have? And the other thing is, what are your plans for the clubhouse? Do you have any plans to make it more open, more viable, and not just be something for when the golfers are out? You know, because a lot of the golf courses, because I come from the land of lots of golf courses, he knows. But they are open to parties, you know, to make it consistent, and it's not just for the golfers. We're a community, and I'd like to see more community involvement in that kind of situation. And is it 2 different golf courses that we're talking to? I mean, 2 different contracts, or are you just one?
No, so we both work for Trim.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take this. I would say that the idea would be to be approachable, right, as far as the homeowners and the community. We would want to make sure that we're maintaining the grounds that are the city's property and not private property. So we want to make sure that we have those clearly defined. When it comes to maintaining weeds around like those barrier fences, etc., we want to make sure that we're doing our job. I don't know what Beacon sprays. I want to make sure that what we use on the property is in line with all of our environmental concerns. We're not doing things that we shouldn't be doing, and I can't tell you what that other company does. And in regards to the clubhouse, I'd have to defer to the city because it's their building. In regards to any type of upgrades for that type of capital expenditure, could there be an opportunity for other types of events to be hosted? I would say sure. We would just have to make sure that it's feasible and it makes good business sense for the city themselves. Hope that answers.
We're also the city. We pay taxes.
Right, yeah. And I think the big difference in the change in relationship is the leaseholder for 30 years is retiring, and he would pay the rent to the city, and he would kind of set the rates and do what he wanted to pretty much. Well, we will represent the city in their wants and desires and needs, and basically the golf course belongs to the citizens of Ocean Shores. And our goal is to be good stewards of that property, work closely with the city representatives to make sure that we are performing that duty. But I know there's a lot of questions on rates and are you going to have annuals, and those aren't decisions that are made by us. Those are decisions that are made by the city. We will make recommendations regarding rates and so forth, but we've never found it advantageous to come in and completely change everything that's working right now. We will take our direction from the city, but we will definitely take our direction from our golfers, our customers too. Our main focus is to really market to the tourists that are coming into town. A lot of them do not play golf here because either they don't know there's a golf course or they didn't bring their golf clubs with them. So we would work with the vacation owners, the hotels, provide complimentary rental sets for customers that are staying at the casino. We will charge them a premium to play golf, especially in the summertime, but we will make it easy for them to do that. I know a gentleman that runs the Oi Hut Bay vacation homes. 12,000 people went through their doors last year, and very few of them actually play golf, so we want to change that.
When you say that the city will be the overall owner manager, do you have someone at the city now that you are working with or will have in the future that you know? Has someone been appointed?
It's called the mayor.
So you will be the person there?
Yeah, almost every other city that we've talked to has a Park and Recs department, and that's who they report to. We don't have a Parks and Recs department.
Okay.
So the negotiation, the working on the things, it will be through the mayor's office. Now, obviously, that will probably include other people to do that. But also going back to what Nani's about the clubhouse, that they will ultimately give us some recommendations of what they think that will improve the golf course. And it could be the clubhouse, it could be something else. But all decisions will be made from the city and ultimately the council of whether or not we're going to fund it. And one of the big issues that our focus is to get it up and running, get revenue coming in, put money aside so that we can reinvest within the golf course. So the golf course hopefully can stand on its own. We don't know until we start operating it. But if you just, when you start talking about the clubhouse, just imagine how much we just spent on the irrigation, and that was a huge number with it. And so we don't want, from a city point of view, to put the city in a negative place because of the golf course. So, but yeah, I totally understand. The golf course is the citizens of Ocean Shores golf course, and this actually gives the city more of the ability to be managing the golf course and set the direction of the golf course moving forward, where before Kurt leased the golf course and those main decisions were left up to Kurt.
May I ask one question? Have you ever walked on the golf course?
Yes.
Have you noticed how it's not smooth? It's all because of the divots that the guys do. They don't put back what they dig out with the golf club.
Well, I've walked on a lot of different golf courses, and I can't say I've ever walked on a smooth golf course.
Oh, come to Hawaii.
Okay.
They take care of it very well because, except for the hardest golf course in the nation that just recently shut down, if you hit the ball, it lands in the goop and you can't find it.
Maybe if you guys could talk, because I know that I asked about grass maintenance and what you did, and I got a 95-page manual explaining it. So obviously that's a big thing for you guys.
Well, the challenge is, we really, I don't think Kurt's here, is he? No. I think 17,000 rounds is not our goal. Our goal is more like 27 to 35,000 rounds. So that means a lot more divots on the golf course. So what I'm really excited about is the ownership that people take in this property, this community property. Brian and I just met with 5 individuals that help out from various time to time. They live on the golf course. One of them mows rough, the other one rakes bunkers. And to a person, they were like, hey, this is where I live. I take pride in this particular facility, and that's rare to find. We manage golf courses in a city environment where some of the maintenance crews, they're just paycheck employees. They don't care. You know, they put in their 8 hours and they go home. So we've done things like what I call sand and seed crews, where if somebody wants to adopt 2 or 3 holes and go out there at off-peak hours and fill some of those divots, and we provide them with a voucher for free golf or whatever. We found that those types of extra labor make a huge difference in the quality of the golf course, because it's going to have a pretty small crew starting out, and that's a lot of acreage to cover everything. Normally we try to take care of it what we call down the middle, tees, fairways, greens, but when you have a sand and seed crew like that can go out there and fill divots and things like that, it's amazing how grass will regenerate itself when it's got seed and sand and it's smoothed out, the footprint's smoothed out. So sounds like there may be a lot of unfilled divots out there.
Well, a lot of people walk in the evenings, like for exercise, when the club is already closed down. It's very hard to walk, and then I usually like to walk from the auto shop to where I live, and I took the shortcut. Yeah, right. It's safer to walk on the road than it is to walk on the golf course because of the way the thing is. And so, if you would take a look and see, I know you would get more people, because when I first moved here, you had an LPGA tournament.
Sure.
And it was neat, seeing everything organized and stuff. I did not see any PGA set up here, but I did see the LPGA.
Yeah.
And I know we have potential. And the other thing is, a lot of the people from Japan are looking for small courses because they can get an appointment to come in and play, And so if you set it up really nice, to me, it all goes around management, the way you organize everything. We would have more people coming in to golf. It is feasible. It's a good place, to do this. And then plus we'll be supporting the other businesses in town, all the restaurants and stuff like that, not just one, business.
Absolutely. I don't know how many have had children, and when they came home, they had a good report card, and they came running up to you and say, "Look, I got an A." That's us. We want to do that for John at the end of the year. Hey, John, look, we got an A. So we're on the clock here. We need to step up and make sure this is a product that the city is proud of, that the community is proud of. We will put energy and effort and resources into making that golf course as good as it possibly can be.
I like that. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a problem with, I think it's called goat's head. It's a particular kind of weed. Grows in the golf course, grows everywhere around here. It's got these vicious little thorns. The dogs get stuck in their paws.
Yes.
You can't walk barefoot on it, and you bring it into the house. It's horrible stuff. And do you guys have an effective way of getting rid of it? It's all over the golf course.
That's a good question. My vacation down in Long Beach, a family has a house on the beach there, and they have the goat head all the way through. And I have to carry my 55-pound dog, 150 yards, and that dog gets heavy about the last little tribute. I'd probably defer to our superintendent and even refer to Kurt and what he's done, because it seems to be an ocean type grass as well. John, Scott, do you have any?
We've been battling goat's head. We have a park that we've actually had it treated. There's a treatment for goat heads, and we're on the second treatment, and it has really worked well.
So far, we're worked very well, and we're optimistic, or I should say hopefully optimistic, but I don't know if that's going to work for something as large as the golf course. I just can't speak to that.
Well, we would certainly like to learn what you're doing, and see if we can put that into practice as well. So.
Yeah, I think that if you walk on the golf course, it's widespread, and you only have to step on it once, and you know what it looks like.
Oh yeah, I've stepped on it before.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So
It's in your shoes too.
Can I just ask, how many people are actually golfers here? How many people have used the course?
To golf or to just walk?
No, to golf, to actual golfers. I just kind of get curious as like what the needs of golfers are. I don't know, Gina, do you have any things that you'd like to see at the golf course, or?
I'd just like to see the facility look nicer. I'd like the paint to be up and just have it be more pleasurable to look at, to have the desire to go golfing.
Wait, and you might want to talk about some of the promotion, because this is one of the things that they're going to be able to bring to us, is some of the marketing techniques that haven't been used. Because Kurt's been great at the maintenance aspect of maintaining the golf course and working with that, but there hasn't been a lot pushed into marketing and promotion. And you had like a number of ideas that you were discussing to how to attract new people or even local residents that haven't used the golf course. I don't know if you want to discuss that now.
Absolutely. Have you heard of Chambers Bay, U.S. Open Golf Course? When they built that golf course, the county executive had a meeting just like this. And I asked him a question. It's like, so what type of events, what type of groups are you going to help out locally? And he told me to my face, we didn't build it for you. And I was offended at first. It's like, well, what do you mean? This is a community golf course. He built it for people to travel from all over the world to come to University Place, Washington. So our goal initially is to invite people down here and play the golf course. We have 60,000 people listed in our frequent player program, and it's a free program, and all 11 of our golf courses participate. And we have the ability to invite each and every one of them to come down and play Ocean Shores. The casinos, the hotels, and so forth are dying for stay and play type promotions because people are coming here for various reasons. Golf is just another activity that we want to introduce them to. So I want the front porch to be neat, clean, spick and span always. If it needs fresh paint, it needs fresh paint. You know, if the staff needs to be in uniform, I think they need to be in uniform. And there needs to be a vibe and a first-class feel to the service and the presentation. You can't change the length of the holes in the design, but you can certainly change everything else about it and try to improve from where it's at. And that's our goal. We have to prove ourselves. We have to prove ourselves to you. We have to prove ourselves to city officials. And if we put out a good product and, like you had said, it's pleasing to the eye and you're treated well, people are going to come back. They just are.
And you mentioned, you mentioned, or for the first-time golfers, because the majority of this room obviously don't golf, you had some promotional ideas that you were thinking about, like, people who didn't bring their clubs could rent them, those types of things.
Right, and you know, what we found is a lot of people that come to the beach, they probably don't have room to pack their golf clubs if they're not specifically coming down to play. So what we like to do is provide high-end rental sets, and we may provide those complimentary. If you're staying at a certain hotel and we work out a reasonable partnership with that hotel, we will provide them with a complimentary set of rental clubs, sleeve of balls, some tees, so they don't have to bring all of their stuff with them. We're still going to charge a premium rate for that time of year for golf and a cart rental and maybe a hot dog and a soda, but the clubs themselves will provide complimentary. Normal golf courses charge upwards $50, $60 to rent clubs. We don't want that to be a barrier for somebody who's down here looking for something to do. So that's one of our marketing efforts is to get those in play as soon as possible.
Nani? Yes, Jan, or Jan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Many years ago, I was involved with some community affairs, and this many years ago up north, Marysville, Everett, and we got the hotels involved, not just one. We had several of the hotels gathering and meeting with them, and they even bought a bus, a tour bus, and so when people came in and say there was a meeting going on, and the males went to the meeting and the families went, they would get on the bus and take a little 3-hour trip around and keep them busy and keep them occupied. And the hotels benefited. There was also a lot of wine country up in that area also. But the hotels benefited by working together, not as a separate group and competing with each other. And I don't know if you have met any of the hotel people here yet or not, but
I got an invitation sent to me through Troon. There's a hotel coalition down here. I believe, and, well, I believe there is, and they invited us to participate in a Zoom meeting, so we're excited to reach out to all of the hotels and
That would be good
the
advertising.
casino and see if there's some mutual interest and some benefit.
I think-
Yeah, and I think that what we can bring them is golfers looking for an opportunity that I'm going to come down and bring my family, and we're going to stay and play. We're going to spend, the morning on the golf course and the afternoon on the beach type of thing. So that's our primary focus within the first 4 or 5 months, is to really invite people here from outside of Grace Harbor County.
Scott, you said about golf course and all that. Yeah, maybe I've never played on our golf course. I have a set of clubs. I used to play in one.
Okay. So
Now,
what,
the thing that I'm asking is, will you have pros out here to teach people who want to go back to learning how to play golf, or those that never played golf to learn how to play golf at your facility? Because that's what they do back home, so.
That's our goal. Obviously, Kurt's leaving at the end of the month. He and Tanya are off to retirement. So we have to staff the facility. First and number one most important position is the superintendent, mechanic, GM, somebody who is in charge of the operation that can make sure the golf course is as presentable and playable as possible. This person has to have license to fertilize, to spray, and has a working knowledge of how golf courses, can thrive in an ocean type environment. So we've identified that person. We're waiting for agreement to finalize with the city, but we'll be offering that person a job forthwith. I have already had a head professional in mind, but he turned me down. He went to the country club to work outside on their maintenance crew. So we're challenged with the timeline a little bit of finding somebody who is willing to relocate to Ocean Shores in 15 days, 20 days or whatever. But I think the important thing is finding the right person, because we want that person to be happy to be here within the Ocean Shores community and blend with the community, become part of the community, and this is where they want to be. And so we may be a little more selective going forward. We will put a job posting out right away, but I think it's important that we just don't hire a golf professional who's going to be here 3 months and leave type of thing. So Brian and myself are experienced operators. We will be down here as often as we can to make sure we get off to a good start. The golf are important to the golfers. We want to make sure we're operating those tournaments, as well as Kurt, if not better. That's one thing that we are experts in, is running golf tournaments. I have 10 general managers. I have 10 head professionals that work for me up in the Seattle area. They're all happy as a clam to come down here and help out. A week at the beach, sure, I'll come down, type of thing. So one of the things I talked to John and Scott about is it may be that there's more help coming from the north part of the state initially as we staff up, because it looks to me right now, if I really woke up and I thought, oh my God, I need to staff this place, start to panic and get some anxiety going. But I know I have that backup. I know I have Brian as a backup. Brian's going to help me initially, and he has a very busy golf course that he runs. He's going to have more time in May than he is in June. But with all the resources that we bring, the local resources, we want to make sure the facility gets off to a good start while we search for the right staff, the right people. So it's important.
I've heard that there's some concern about the Westport. They're expanding their golf course, or they're doing something more with it. Do you feel that that's competition, or could that also help us because there's a couple of golf courses around?
Okay, so, can you guys hear me? Is
Yes.
it low? Okay. So the Westport Golf Links, I'm sure you guys have Googled it, seen the project, that type of thing. Our company is involved with that as well. So it would be a sister property. Now, they're still in the fledgling stages, right? There's a lot of EPA stuff. It's built in a state park. There's a lot of hoops that need to be jumped through. The guy who is designing it just did the renovation for Sandpoint Country Club up in Seattle. He's well renowned as far as a golf course architect. And if he does what he can normally do, it's going to draw a lot of people. So is that a benefit or is it a disadvantage, right? That golf course is going to be what you would probably call resort higher end type of golf course. What Mike and I have found is when golfers travel to play golf, they don't just travel to play once. They'll travel to play 2, 3, 4 times. Well, if I'm spending, say, $200 a round to play Westport Golf Links, I could play Ocean Shores twice, and I get 3 rounds of golf in for less than 2 rounds of golf at the one place. So it's going to have a positive effect overall with this community. The other thing is that there's a lot more hotels over on this side of Grace Harbor, which means you're going to be brought tourists that are going to have to stay somewhere if they're going to be playing there. How else can it benefit? Mike touched on the frequent player card that's done through the Seattle properties. Troon also does a rewards program throughout its properties that participate throughout the globe. Right? So if this is a premier type of golf course, Troon will use its might to go in and market, whether it's East Coast, whether it's Midwest, whether it's Florida, whether it's Arizona golfers, to come and see their other new property and use the advantages of the rewards program that way. So there is going to be some exposure to this area that maybe didn't exist before. And it'll be kind of a symbiotic relationship where both Westport and Ocean Shores benefit.
Has anybody heard of Bandon Dunes? Have you heard of Bandon Crossings? So Bandon Crossings is an 18-hole property that is 6-7 miles from Bandon Dunes. And that golf course survives almost 100% on the spillover from Bandon Dunes. Bandon Dunes is a very expensive golf course to play, $250 a round. You can go play Bandon Crossings for about $60 a round. So we see that a lot. If a high-end, world-renowned architect comes in and builds a golf course, all the other golf courses in the area benefit, for sure. And we're pretty excited that we're involved with both properties, so we will make sure both properties get marketed properly.
I'm kind of looking ahead here, probably a little bit too far, but do you have any type of programs that you offer for like the high schools to where they can come in and teach a PE class on golfing, and maybe get a discount, or I don't know exactly how that works, but.
We participate in a couple different programs. One is Youth on Course. It's through the Washington State Golf Association. I think it's 17 and under, I believe. They pay $20 to join the program, and they get to play golf for $5. So we are wholeheartedly in support of that. The high school programs, we try to do everything we can to make those programs successful. One thing that we like to do is we like to do a little trade out with those programs. We'll give them free golf lessons in return if they do a divot party. Come out and take care of the golf course one day. Let's go down the 6 fairways and let's fill divots. And we want them to also develop an appreciation for the course that they're playing on. But the most important thing is we're helping them get better at the game and enjoy the game and have success on their team. So in Seattle, there's 12 high schools that we support. In Everett, I think there's 5. In Bellingham, there's at least 3 or 4. So municipalities, I think, tend to lend themselves a little bit better because you don't have to dress up super fancy snazzy, come to the golf course. You can come out in a hoodie and jeans, and that's okay with us, type of thing. And I think the private clubs in the last few years have gotten even a little more restrictive on their outside use. Well, we're arms open for those programs. So, and here again, the head professional is I want to find the right person. I need that person to really love the game and love to teach the game and be able to go to the schools and teach golf and PE classes and want to do that, those kind of things. So the search is on.
If I can make a comment to a couple of previous questions. So finding the right person, right, as far as the head professional. Give you an example from my property. I've been there for about 6 years. We have a director of instruction. He's a Class A professional. He started out as one of the local high school coaches. He now does several thousand rounds when it comes to teaching rounds, lessons, etc. We started a program, it's called Op36. It's a nationwide program. It's operated different properties throughout the United States. His first year, he was voted as a top 50 instructor. The second year he did it, he was a top 50 instructor. Why is that important? He has students that range from 3 years old to 90 years old. They're all new to the game or returning to the game. It's a way of teaching the game in incremental phases that allow for comfort, inclusion, social atmosphere, those types of things to be actually had on the golf course. Those programs could be looked at, right? Whether it's, the retirement community that's here year round, or the vacationing community where little Johnny wants to go and golf with dad, for those types of programs. Those things are out there, and there is an availability to do it. But again, as Mike influenced, it's finding the right person who cares for the right reasons why we're doing it.
Do you guys have scholarships for the kids? Golf scholarships?
Any golf scholarship would be endorsed by the city. We're an agent of the city. Having said that, we try to foster as much community effort as possible into providing low to no cost access to diverse populations, groups that maybe don't have the financial resources to play on a regular basis. We will partner with the city to make sure that our outreach is long and wide. Give us a season. We're going to try to crawl before we walk and rock before we run, but we will definitely get there. And we're pretty excited about learning who lives in Ocean Shores and the surrounding communities and how we can best be a really jewel and an asset. So we're drawing people to the course from all walks of life.
Again, you all know I've not been out to the clubhouse. Is alcohol served out there? Okay, so if you're the manager, then does the city own have the license, or do the managers?
As the operator, we will have the license in our name, yes. And in the state of Washington, you cannot transfer a liquor license, so we're going to not be able to sell beer and wine for probably the first 60 days we're operating while we obtain that license. I think that it seems to me like golf and beer go hand in hand a lot of times. We want people to enjoy themselves. We don't want them to be destructive or disruptive. So in my own personal experience, I banned 12 people from a golf course in Pierce County that just decided they didn't want to follow the rules. And I had the back of Pierce County. They had my back, and they didn't want those people out there either. So, and there's a fine line, but we know where that line is and where that line shouldn't be crossed. And, we will definitely, I might have to reach out to John and Scott and say, hey, here's 4 gentlemen that we don't want back. We as an entity do not have the ability to ban somebody from a public facility, but I'm sure John and Scott have the wherewithal to do that.
Question right up front.
I had heard that Kurt owned the equipment, maintenance, and golf carts. Now, will the city be purchasing those, or will you be buying new, or how would that work?
That's our next big hurdle after we get the contract done. Yes, we will have to evaluate his equipment. We've already had conversations of bringing outside companies to evaluate the equipment. They are going to bring their mechanics and do compression tests on the carts to see what we're buying. And then we will sit down with Kurt and we'll negotiate a price with it, and keep my fingers crossed that it goes well, that everything's negotiating. And part of what they will do is help me identify what is the equipment that we need, what in their mind is a value, because it could be an older piece of equipment that's running fine. Some of it, we're still dealing with supply issues of you can't just go out and get new golf carts. And some of it might be that we'll take maybe a tractor and maybe not get it from Kurt and maybe lease it out. Lease it from someplace else. So that's a big number. When I talk to other cities that have gone through a very similar transition, I'm thinking it's probably going to be like $250,000 to $300,000, somewhere in there, of purchasing all of it. Now, a lot of the other places, they had like restaurant equipment, so things are different. But we haven't got to that point because I can't get them going until council gives me approval to do that. But that's a big thing because it'll be on our books versus on Kurt's books.
I'm going to continue for a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you guys running big golf courses exchange equipment and replace your equipment, and maybe you got some going up for auction and replace them all and kind of trade around with different?
So are you referring to like backup equipment or equipment that may be needed in like an emergency type status?
Wrapping it like, here we're maintenance, repairing what we got, what we use, and maybe you got.
Right. So I think those feelers are ready to be put out there, but we can't officially go in and say, hey, are you willing to part with this? Because there isn't an entity to send it, right, at this particular point. The other thing is a lot of other golf courses will lease equipment, so it's not theirs to keep unless they took the buyout option. One of the things that the golf industry is facing across the board, it doesn't matter whether it's a private owner, whether it's a large company, trying to find equipment right now is worse than trying to find a car. So the backlog on new equipment is a couple of years out. So trying to find the best solution so that the city doesn't lose any ground in regards to taking over this type of operation, so they're not losing revenue. That's where we're going to try to provide the best advice.
And that is a challenge for us because that wasn't in our budget. I wasn't planning on taking over a golf course, and so one of the things that we've already started talking with the council of where are we going to pull it from, and it'll be coming from general fund, and to get there. So I think we've got the money to be there. I just don't know because it's negotiation, and I don't know what the number is. And but I, as mayor, will work as hard as I can for the citizens to make sure that we get a fair value of whatever we're purchasing. Yes.
I have another question because I read the article in the newspaper, and it said, that Kurt is selling you the remaining 4 years. So how is that selling?
No, he's not selling anything. He has a contract with the city.
Mm-hmm.
There was remaining time on it, but in that contract, we as a city or he as the leasee could give notice and walk away. He gave us notice in beginning of December or November. I think probably November.
Yeah, he hinted he was going to leave a little earlier, but he didn't actually give us official notice until. I'm trying.
I think he gave it right around Thanksgiving, if I recall. So he gave the notice. So immediately, that's when we started working on a request for proposal for someone to take over. And originally, our original request was focused on someone like Kurt. We wanted someone to take over the lease, and Kurt at that time, if he was able to sell that lease, someone else sublet it, there probably was some value, but we got no takers. So then we redid the RFP, the request for proposal, put it out there, changed some of the wordings and what we were looking for, kind of opened it up for a management company to take a look at it, which we got 3. Troon was the council approved on Troon. So there was nothing as far as selling. The only thing that he has from a selling point would be the equipment.
One thing about a management agreement versus a lease, when it's a lease, there's only one person that really wins in that, and that's the leaseholder. You know, he's got no, and this is no knock on Kurt, but he doesn't have any motivation to keep the place spotless, to overstaff, to do all these things because it's taking money out of his own pocket. You know, a third-party management like this, you know, we have one person or one group to keep happy, and that's the city of Ocean Shores. If we don't do our job, then they can kick us out and bring somebody else on. So it's, I think, the best potential group operating for a municipality because it's all about what's best for the city. We don't make any extra money if the city doesn't do well. You know, we are doing this for a fee, and the extra revenue and benefits go directly to the city as they see fit. So that's kind of what I see as far as leaseholders and operations is there's not as many out there anymore because it's a city asset, but the leaseholder is the one that's generating all the revenue. So hopefully you'll see, you know, give us, you know, 90, 120 days, you'll see the real benefit of that.
And I don't know if you just want to talk about your retention rate with other cities within Washington State, but it's perfect.
I personally am 6-0. So in all 6 contracts with the cities, I've gone through 6 successful renewals. So, and that to me speaks volumes that we're doing our job. Brian's job, my job is pretty simple. Generate as much revenue for the city, as much profit for the city, and keep our employees happy. And if we can do those 3 things, we've done our job.
So you work for other municipalities, you're familiar with the guidelines and things, doors you have to walk through and procedures about it.
I was going to actually say, what if you tell them a little bit about Troon, not nationally, but also like Indigo as well, and then Troon does, because I'm not sure they're familiar with everything that you do.
Absolutely.
So, since there's not a whole lot of golfers in the room, so Troon operates more than 750 properties throughout the globe. It's the largest operator of golf courses on the planet. In regards to municipalities, 140 plus municipalities throughout the United States. As regards to Indigo, so when Troon purchased Indigo maybe 2 years ago, that was the last of the most recent purchases that they did, where they had OB Sports, Premier, a couple others. And then they decided to consolidate, right, the companies underneath their umbrella. And now what you see is you'll see Indigo Sports, which is operating more than 260 plus golf courses in the United States that are daily fee or municipality owned. So we have a large presence, and we have a lot of renewals with those municipalities because they appreciate what we do. We're literally stewards for the game, and in this case, this is your property, and we want to make sure that it appreciates, not depreciates.
So the Premier family, Premier's been around the Northwest for about 20 years, and a single owner. The cities that we represent are Seattle, Bellevue, Everett, Linwood, Marysville, and Bellingham. And we started with one contract, and it quickly grew because we found that there was a collective benefit for more cities being involved with the same management company. Shared cost is one thing. We have human resources, marketing, admin, accounting support that support all 11 golf courses. So you can imagine those shared costs are distributed 11 ways. If Ocean Shores entity by itself had an HR person, a marketing person, an admin team, you'd probably have to hire 3 separate people and pay them quite a bit more instead of a 1/11th of a person's salary. But we've also felt like as this collective group, we work together to share this golfer database. And what's truly amazing to the cities is when they find out how much revenue came from those 5 other cities. So it's going to be really fun to show Ocean Shores how much revenue is going to come to Ocean Shores from those 5 other cities. And it could be $500,000, it could be $1 million that you were not getting before because of the fact that those golfers had no reason to come down here and play here, or they maybe didn't even know there was a golf course here. So we're really, really hoping that that is the success story is Ocean Shores becoming the 7th member of this collective group and benefits not only on the savings expense-wise, but benefits on the marketing and the revenue generation that a larger group can do for Ocean Shores with the golf course.
Will you be advertising in the golf magazine?
We tend to do more of our advertising within our local network because it's more effective, more cost effective. When you're talking about an email or Instagram, Facebook, quite a bit cheaper. We will do more Facebook ads, targeted Facebook ads. The idea is to market 2 ways. First one is to the Puget Sound area, and the second one is to the local hotels here. So, I don't know what the cost of a billboard is out there, John, but as I was driving in, I thought it'd be really nice to see a Ocean Shores golf course, but I don't know if that's cost prohibitive or not. I'm not sure.
Yes, the one guy who in this room who knows.
It's about $560 a month.
Okay.
Welcome, number one. You have some big shoes to fill. You bring a lot to the city, but you have a personality to replace. And Kurt was a real asset in our community, and I didn't always agree with him on things, but I was also at a business here for 15 years. And our business benefited from the golf course. At first, I would have said, no, we don't. And then as you talk to more and more people coming in, we get a lot of folks that show up on the weekend and they're going out to golf and the weather turns or any number of other things. But these people are coming with a little bit of cash in their pockets and they're more than willing to spend it in our town. As a non-golfer, although there are golfers in the family, I'd sure like you to bring the Misfit back.
Yeah, me too.
What's the Misfit?
That's what it was called, the
There are 4 or
Misfit.
5
I'd forgotten
people
it was
here
called
who
the
know.
Misfit.
But there used to be a very nice, the center of the golf course used to be a very nice restaurant, bar. The golf operations was down below. You could sit and have a really good steak dinner, which didn't exist in Ocean Shores, overlooking the golf
That
course.
part too. They played
And for
music,
some of
too.
us locals,
They played music too.
Huh?
They played music.
they had live music, yeah, it was quite a place. But that goes back quite a ways.
Yes, it does.
Anyway, thank you for being here, and I think you'll find the community very supportive. Hate to see Kurt go, but he deserves vacation. And he did a good job for the time that we had. And I really appreciate his investment, his personal investment in all of this.
Thank you for welcoming us. It's always difficult to come into a new place and be the new person. And, Mike and I are the 2 new guys sitting up here and everybody's staring at us and like, what are you doing with our town? So I was here on the visit for the RFP, and another company was here as well. And you can tell that there was a commitment made by Kurt. We got that from the council meeting that we were here the previous week, where he, emotionally, you could start to see that he's realizing that his investment for 30 whatever years that he's been here is being given up, and there's a lot of ties to that. And he's very proud of what he committed to it. We don't want to take that away, right? He invested into the community. We want to make sure that we carry that. It's very apparent that the community cares about the golf course. This is, by populace, not a very large city in the state of Washington, but there's not a whole lot of empty chairs in this room for somebody to ask questions to a couple of guys from a management company that's going to help your golf course. So we want to make sure that you guys, everyone here understands that we're here to make sure that we get the right people and we are stewards. We want to make sure that those types of environments that were provided to you before continue. You know, hopefully there's going to be somebody who will start to recognize all the regulars by their first name, by their face, be able to have the conversations about how your family's doing or how the last round ended up. Those things are big when it comes to the golfing community, and it's the reason why people always come back to the course. It's not exactly the easiest thing to find all the time, but when you do, it makes a big difference. So I'll speak for myself. I would commit to finding those types of people, but I'm pretty sure that Mike is too.
Yeah, I got a call from Kurt almost 2 months ago. And it's like, hey, I hear you guys are involved. And it's like, I don't know anything about it. What are you talking about? And, you know, our Indigo family is based in Virginia. And they had put in the request come out from Mayor John and the council. And they had put a response to that. So I had inquired and found out, yeah, our Indigo family was put in a request. And he says, well, I don't want Indigo, I want Premier. And it's like, well, Kurt, we're the same thing. And I think what he was really talking about is, I don't want somebody that I don't trust. I don't want somebody that I don't know. And, you know, Kurt, Xander, Ronnie Espinola, Brian Davis, I mean, I go back with those gentlemen 30 years. And I told him, I said, Kurt, if I'm involved in this in any way, shape, or form, I just want to make you proud. Because I know how hard you've worked, I know how long you've been here, and I know that I want you comfortable and confident that we're going to do a good job and represent the golf course the way you would have. So I know he was an advocate for us when talking to John and Scott, and we're humbled by that, because now we feel like, okay, we have to hold up our end of the bargain now. So the kind words for Kurt I will pass on, I'm sure you will too. And, you know, I think at 64 years old, I think he's looking forward to maybe doing a little more fishing, spending more time with his grandkids. But I think he's ready for a new chapter. And you know, we just want to carry forward what he's done a good job for the last 30 years. I don't think everybody agrees with everything he did, but by and large, he did a fantastic job, I think.
Are you going to go ahead and hire the people that are already working, that was working for Xander?
Yes.
Okay, and if they don't want to work for you, will you have somebody that will come in and take their place?
That's the goal.
Oh, I like that.
And I just want to, again, I appreciate everything that Kurt has done, but I just want to make sure that everyone's real clear that Kurt was not part of the decision-making process of picking them. We had a committee that was put together. You can look at the pitches they made online, and I really believe that they were the number one choice. It was unanimous from the council, but sometimes word gets out that, well, okay, Kurt's friends with somebody and he was passionate, because Kurt has a lot of passion. But we went through and did a lot of the stuff on working behind the scenes and making sure we got the right people to actually apply, to submit the proposals, then actually be interviewed for us. I think they were hard questions. We brought them to the council to get there. So again, to me, this is one of the most important things that I will do as mayor, of figuring out what we're going to do with the golf course. And, you know, we talked about Westport. One of my fears was Westport getting a golf course and what would it do to ours, because the downside of having Kurt, he's one guy and just does not have the capital to do the things that this company can do for us with it. So having the connection between the two, I think is great. I think it'll only make our golf course much stronger than it was under Kurt. And Kurt did a great job, because there's a lot of other cities that got rid of their golf courses because they just didn't want to deal with it. And that was my fear, especially when we didn't get anybody on the first round with it. So again, I just don't want the word out there that Kurt has a connection, so that's the reason why we won. They won it because they were the best choice. So
we had 7-0 from the council on that as well. So that's when you get unanimity, that level. We know we went the right direction.
Yeah, and I will echo that. I mean, the questions the council and the selection committee posed were tough questions for us, and really made us think in our presentation was, I think, very thorough, because we knew that there were a lot of questions that needed to be answered, and you know, at least we got invited to participate in the RFP. We're pleased and humbled, and we put our best foot forward. I honestly, truly believe that we are the best company, because personally, I want to see this thing successful, and Brian's the same way. We don't like to get involved in operations that don't have a chance of success. So, you know, we're here and we're ready to go.
And the mayor called other mayors that were involved with various companies. I called other Parks and Rec departments. Of course, the city of Ocean Shores does not have a Parks and Rec department, which pushes us in a slightly different place, but we're smaller than most of the cities that you operate in. But we've got an amazing project manager here who's going to help us out. So,
although we don't want it, it sounds like the golf course may be unoperable for several months due to possible no equipment and.
No. If you looked at when we did the interview, one of the questions we had is, the question was posed, what if we can't come to an agreement with Kurt? Which I think that we will come to an agreement. We just haven't sat down and started talking with it, but we've had the initial ones. What would your plan be if we don't have any equipment? Kurt just says, I'm done, I'm taking everything with me, and I have no golf carts. All three proposals assured us that they could get equipment from other places and keep us up and running. If you guys wanted to speak to it, because I believe that we'll work a deal with Kurt. But if worst case scenario, you guys presented, what was your plan?
Well, here again, we're local with 11 golf courses. Brian's got a golf course in Vancouver. We would rally and we would provide the equipment needed. Our superintendents would scream bloody murder, because what are you doing? You're taking that piece. But you know, we would do it where we have to, because we help each other out. We had a situation at Charbonneau, which is a 9-hole golf course in Portland, where the food and beverage director, she went on maternity leave, and then the staff up and quit, and they had 2 big events going, a 160-person event on Friday and a 80-person event on Saturday. Well, we had employees rally down from Seattle, work the event, and they came up and said, wow, that was the best event we've had, and so forth. So when push comes to shove, we're going to show up, and we'll be there. And you know, Brian and I, we'll do everything we can the first 30 days. If we have to be here every day, we'll be here every day, making sure that we're off to a good start while we're hiring the right people.
Yes, Gina.
I appreciate the fact that you bring in this experience and the marketability. We have a local chamber of commerce for Grace Harbor, and they do marketing as well, and I'm wondering if you'll put in with them. Also, especially since John has been a past chair or president of that, but they do marketing for us. The other thing is that in the past, Kurt was supposed to have been coming and bringing financials and talking to the council on a monthly basis. Is that being factored into this?
Well, you're going to love this, because first of all, they're going to upgrade the POS system so that actually have the reports, and the sample reports they gave us on a monthly basis will be available for everyone to see. So I think the transparency is part of reporting, because obviously the city is now the person that actually has the P&L control, that we will be reporting on an ongoing basis. You know, and from a marketing point of view, the first thing is we just got to get our feet under ourselves of what we're going to be doing. But I fully believe that Ocean Shores, Grace Harbor, and the golf course, you know, that we'll get a cohesive marketing plan. Because right now we haven't. I mean, the golf course is always, it's like the current website, you can't book a tee time, you know, to go golfing. And if you're a golfer, that's what you do. You just get online and do it. So we're going to be more transparent as far as just the financials, how many rounds are being played and all that, because they are, part of their incentive is to generate rounds. for us. So you'll see that, and then the marketing part of it, yes, once we get everything done, get up and running, we will sit down and have a marketing plan.
Yeah, being a municipal representative, we want to be equitable and fair for everything, for everybody. We want to be able to promote affordable golf. Not everybody has a computer, not everybody has a laptop or a cell phone or whatever. So you can book tee times online, you can book tee times through a mobile app, but you can also call, and we have a call center that we operate out of our Linwood facility that answers the phone for all 11 golf courses. So the benefit to that is that the small staff that's at Ocean Shores can really take care of the customer instead of being on the phone all day. But the other thing that all 132,000 people that call our call center will actually be mentioning, have you tried Ocean Shores? Have you played Ocean Shores? We get a lot of cross-booking that way. Oh, hey, I'm going down to Ocean Shores next week, well, here, let me book a tee time for you. So they actually have access to all of our tee sheets. So you don't have to have technology to book that tee time. You could just pick up the phone. And you may have Becky answer the phone. Well, who's Becky? Becky doesn't work at Ocean Shores. Well, Becky's in our call center, and she's going to answer the phone. Ocean Shores Golf Course. This is Becky. So to me, that's important because not everybody has technology or the latest, greatest stuff. We have the ease of that, but we also have it the good old-fashioned way.
Any other final questions? We're at the 5 o'clock mark. So they are going to be around, and there's going to be much more of meetings. I know that you met with the leadership of the golf course. Is that called leadership? Is that what?
Well, the employees that were previously employed by Kurt, we met with them an hour ago, or 3 o'clock, and invited them, all of them to go to work for us. They've got all our contact information, and we wanted to ease their concerns and answer their questions, and we're going to rely on them, to really help us navigate the learning curve, so to speak, of the customer base in Ocean Shores and the property itself. And I was really impressed with the passion they have for the course, the real ownership that they take in the course. And that's really good to see for Brian and I, because we're going to need a lot of help starting out, and we're going to be successful. It's sure great to have local support like that want to keep going.
And it may be a little bit bumpy when we first get going, because we don't know what we don't, I don't know and we don't know, but we've had numerous conversations, weekly phone calls talking about whatever issues are and working on it, and we'll get a game plan, and I'm just glad that we're working on it now, not in July.
Right.
And so the real plus is because of the transition, we actually have the busy months in front of us, so we can start generating some money to do that. And then the key is to take what we're generating and put back into the golf course as far as doing whatever the upgrades are with it. So I'm excited. I think from an economic point of view, I think this is a huge move for the city of Ocean Shores because we've got a great golf course. It's right part of the city, and if we start pulling from Seabrook, the casino, Westport, that we are the golf course. And if you talk to golfers, the perfect thing is to go to a golf course that's on the ocean, right? And that's what we are. So I'm excited. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Brian and I will stick around too if you have any other questions that you want to come up.